I can send it to anybody else. And like I said, hopefully you can use this in order to run better workshops for your office, and that you can teach for other people. All right, so here we go. Get the music paused. Mhm. Pause music. There we go. All right, so everybody hear me okay?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
All right. So first thing is, if we want these things to actually really bump, we have to be prepared. So first of all, I would say 15 minutes before the workshop, you need to like update your computer. You need to restart Zoom. You need to do whatever it takes, because nothing will lose you at people from the workshop more than either starting late or, hey guys, hold on, I'm freezing, like all those different reasons. So you want to have it turned on at least 5 minutes before, because we need to like reward the early people. We don't want to train people to turn on the Zoom at 8:30. We want to train people to turn it on 5 to 10 minutes before and really champion those people. So as they're hopping on, hey, Ali, thanks for hopping on early. Okay, I'm going to see who some of our top people here. We're going to see who hops on the earliest tomorrow, right? And so while that's happening, I got music on in the background. Also, if you're running the workshop from home, be mindful of your background, right? So you don't want this to be what your background looks like, meaning like a light right behind you, because it's going to suck the light from behind you. So you typically want to keep lights in front of you if possible, or off to the side. So it really is like a bright, positive environment. Okay. I always try to recognize people that have their camera turned off. And I just kind of make a joke out of it, be like, hey, let's not do any brown paper bags in this office. If I can have your guys camera turned on, if you want to go to a desk. And again, I'm doing this for the first 5 or 6 minutes before everything started. And I'm going to do this about 2 to 3 minutes into the meeting too. So I'm not starting right at 8:30. I'm going to probably start it at 8:32, because I want my classroom to be ready to actually learn. During that time, it's real positive. You just got to be chatting with at least one person. So what do you chat about? Annika, what's that crazy painting in the background? And I would just start a conversation with Annika about whatever the painting is. So that way, when people are hopping on, it's sort of like a positive environment. So keep that moving forward. Welcomes, positive vibes. Hey, Kristen, thanks for joining us. Ali, love to have you here. I'm Damien. I'm one of the managers here at Spencer. I'm really glad you did. So, like, you should literally say everyone's name until about 2 to 3 minutes out. Everybody gets a hello. Everybody gets a thank you for joining. Everybody gets the, positive touch. So they all feel like they're a special, versus like if they just feel like they're the 100th person that showed up, well, then what's the problem if I hop off? Now, obviously, if there's 100 people on your workshop, you might not be able to get everybody, but you can start recognizing offices. Hey, can I ask your guys' favor? Can you rename yourself with your office name? All right, where's my Lubbock office at? And if there's like four of you guys, you can be like unmute yourself and like say whatever your office chant is. We're not as good as San Marcos. I don't know what you guys typically say, but probably something like that. Or you just again and you talk some shit, because it'll make them be like whatever, right? And so if you're running the office, talk crap about my office. Why? Because they're 19 years old. Like they want a little smack talk that's fun for them, and it'll kind of make you feel like you're not like a boss. You're just like going to be helping them out today. And so have a little fun with them, ask them to rename themselves, their name, and then whatever is the name of your office. And yeah, if you're the one running the office, hype your office up. Why not? Okay. So again, as a review, you want to jump on about 10 to 15 minutes early, have everything restarted, restart your computer if you need to, have some positive music on. Don't have like smooth jazz. It's like early in the morning, have like Miley Cyrus, like something pop, something good. Borrow one of Ali's mixtapes if you need to. All right. Next, the workshop. All right, guys, we're going to be starting here with our workshop. I want to give some expectations. So what we're going to be doing first is we're going to be making sure that this workshop actually matters, right? It doesn't matter how much I teach you. If we don't have Cutco demos at the end of it, does it really matter? No, of course not, right? And that's why we're going to be starting the workshop by having you make 10 phone calls. Annika, how many calls? Hold it up with your fingers. 10, right? So what did I just do? I just engaged whoever is possibly one of the sharper people. I don't know, whoever's like showing up, dressed nice, you got a blazer on, right? Like I can tell she's like ready to go. I'm going to champion that person by mentioning their name a lot. All right, so Allie, what you're going to do is you're going to make the first 10 calls. Now, every phone call you make, remember that's another chance to sell an ultimate set. And guys, whenever you book demos, just go into the chat box and throw a money sign in there. If you want to take yourself off mute and be like, boop, boop, whatever you want to say, 2 snaps and around the world, Ric Flair, whatever's your jam, go for it. Okay. And then we're going to be starting with our workshop here at 8. So you want to give them at least 15, 20 minutes to get their first 5 to 7 calls. Most people will just make 5. But hey, anyone that gets to 10 extra bonus points, I'll tell your manager that you're the bomb. All right. So we're going to give you guys the next 30 minutes to do so. So if it's 8:30, you should be having that 60-second spiel right around 8:35. And then you give them 25 minutes to make calls. 30 if you want to see the vibe of the room. Right at 9:05, that's when you'll start the workshop. Oh, cool. Any questions on that? Is that kind of what you guys have done in the past to a certain extent, give or take? Cool. We're going to start by making 10 calls. Why? Because we got to make sure this works. All right, then you're going to run the workshop. You need to realize that there's 3 types of people in front of you. There are people that are completely new, have no idea how to spell Cutco, and just somebody brought them in. That's going to be probably 75% of the people that are on your workshop. Then there's going to be people that are new-ish. They can spell Cutco, but they can't spell it very well, right? And then there's going to be assistant managers who need to learn, who need to learn how to run a workshop for the new people. Meaning, you need to be mindful that 75% of your workshop should be catered to new people, and 25% of the workshop should be catered to the assistant manager, because that's basically who's going to be on these calls. Right? So if I all of a sudden start teaching Allie, who just started this weekend, about the secret weapon just from the start, she's not going to have any idea because she hasn't even sold any Cutco. Right? So you got to keep these points really general and then have like 1 or 2 of your magic golden nuggets. Some people start on here and start teaching way too much. They don't even know how to do the dropping down part, and you're trying to figure out how to teach them how to sell ultimate sets. Right? So no matter what your section is, you need to be 75, 80% basically regurgitating the training manual. So if you need a fresh copy, let us give you one, but 75 to 80%. And again, 15 to 20% is going to be their gold nuggets. Now, how to create a workshop that's actually engaging. All right, who's ever had a event that they run or a workshop that they run where you feel like the people that are on the workshop are not even paying attention? You see how I just asked a question to create engagement? And that's one of the keys to running a great workshop, is asking questions to create engagement. So the question is, who's ever, insert the blank, who's ever had a customer that said, I want to think about it? And the big general questions, right? Raise your hand, right? Because they're on mute most of the time. So give me like a 2 thumbs up. Give me like, give me the finger guns, give me like some peace signs, give me like the Batman, right? Like something where you're engaging 47 people on Zoom. Hey, go ahead and unmute yourself and give me a woot woot if you hate cancellations, right? And so all of a sudden they kind of want to do it. Ask questions to create engagement. Who hates it with? Who's ever had a customer who's done blank? Dude, don't you hate it? I hate it too. Let me show you how to handle that. How to handle that scenario. And that's the personal stories. Personal stories are what people remember, and what you teach are the points you extract from your personal stories. Because that's engaging. It's proof that it works. Hey, what I used to tell my customers is, oh my God, I used to tell them that before I got off the phone when I was booking a demo, you guys are gonna think this is hilarious. By the way, if you steal this, you're gonna sell so much more Cutco than everybody else. You might even beat the Lubbock office, maybe. Here's what you do. Tell them to draw a dancing pickle before you get off the phone. Ask like their little kid, like, hey, Mrs. Jones, can you ask like one of your kids to draw a dancing pickle on that little note where you wrote down my name. So that way they're super excited when I get there. And if you have a really awesome one, I'll give you a chance to win some free Cutco at the end of my appointment. That was something I used to do. And I would get to people's houses and their little kids with crayon would have drawn pictures of dancing pickles and nobody canceled on me because of I was like the dancing, when's the dancing pickle guy gonna come over? Right? I'm like, this was a real thing. And so I would tell these stories. And so, guys, what you need to do to avoid cancellations is say something funny before you get off the phone so they remember you. See, the story is what engaged you because we weren't learning anymore. And the point is what you got from the story. So every point that you have, try to see if you can generate a story from it. Heck, even if you got to make it up, you're a good salesperson. No one's going to know. So the point from that, guys, is make sure that you have examples of, again, as many personal stories as you possibly can. I would recommend, if you want people to take you seriously, to have a PowerPoint. And mine's super lame. It should have way more colors. I didn't have enough time to make it, so I apologize. And I recommend that you have like 3 to 5 bullet points, not more, probably not 1 page. It's got to be like 3 to 5. What up, Westside? So have a PowerPoint, and it's got to, like I said, have a little intro, have pictures in it, colors. It's engaging, dude. It's like 8 in the morning. Like we got to like get their brain to wake up a little bit. I would say 3 to 5 bullet points max. All right. So any questions on that process? Once you're done running the workshop, all right, guys, throw into the chat box the big nugget gold takeaway that you got out of this workshop. And you just ask people, and like the sharp people will start throwing stuff in there. Give it 10 seconds. Spencer, if you can throw something in there, Allie would really appreciate it. Annika, thank you. Oh, Kristen, let's see what she wrote. All right, make sure you have personal stories. Dude, you just do that, Kristen, you'll be running this workshop in no time. Ask them to contribute. So that way, like, it's like the cool kids are the ones that paid attention. You just reward them verbally. Reward them verbally. It would be really awesome, by the way, that you take a roll, of who's there on the meeting and be able to post that on our divisional group meme. That way we kind of, as a manager, know like, hey, did that person jump on? Were they off? Tell us, by the way, if I have like the no camera guy. Tell us, by the way, if somebody would like jumped off early. Like we want to know that kind of stuff. Dante was always really good about that. You know, like how he talks crap about you guys after the like at the events meetings. We want that kind of stuff. Like this person, you know, they didn't do that. You know, we want to hear all that. No, he didn't talk about you guys, but like other people mostly. All right, so let's talk about the most important part of the workshop, which is the phone jam. Be like, all right, guys, none of this matters if we don't make some phone calls. None of this matters unless we don't we get on the phone, because this workshop doesn't have any value if you guys are not booking 3 to 10 appointments by the end of this thing. Right now is awesome phone time because blank. That has got to go. Right now is awesome phone time because, you know, it's still early. Right now it's awesome phone time because it's the beginning of the week. Right now it's awesome phone time because it's Wednesday and people are trying to figure out anything to think about other than work. Right now it's awesome phone time because it's Friday and people are planning their weekend. Right now it's awesome phone time because whatever reason that you tell them it's awesome phone time. So post-workshop. All right, guys. So I want to create accountability. Is it okay if I'm a good coach? And I asked that question. Is it okay if I'm a good coach for you? And everyone's be like, of course, everyone likes to be coached. All right. So what I want to do is I want you guys to post in the chat box how many phone calls you're going to make between now and so let's say the workshop goes from like 9 to like 9:30. Take about 30 minutes and they're here till 10. All right, so let's say that we got about 30 minutes. All right, can everybody go to the chat box and post how many phone calls you're going to make and then what your goal from appointments are? By the way, try to see if you can ask some of the assistant managers first because they'll know what to say. Right, you'll have some new rep that says like, I want to make 3 phone calls and book 10 appointments. Like they'll say something stupid, whereas like the assistant manager will say something like, I'm going to make 10 phone calls and book 2 demos. Like they'll understand like the 5-to-1 rule that we talked about in the interview in training. And you can even bring that up, be like, hey, I don't know if you guys remember from your training that we have typically about a 4-to-1 rule, meaning if you're going to make 5 phone calls, you should about between 1 to 2 appointments. 10 phone calls, about 2 to 3 appointments. All right, so can everybody go around, post in the chat box, how many phone calls, how many demos you're going to book? And then once they do, all right, Annika, you got that posted. All right, go get on the phone. If everybody can go ahead and do that. All right, Allie, I got your number. All right, Spencer, got your number. Kristen, I have your number. All right, so it looks like we're gonna book about 10 appointments during this. Again, every time you book a demo, just put $signs in the chat box, type up the results, and then whatever is the result from what happened, if you can have some sort of a text a DM. And the way that I would do it is I would ask, hey, everybody, before we finish the workshop, if you can just let me know and post into the chat box how many demos you booked, that would be great. So I need to know how many we got before you jumped off. And so what you can do is right around that, like, right before you jump off, just shoot me a direct message with what your results are. And if, obviously if you've got web PDI, I know I'll be able to see that from my office, but some of them don't use the app to make their calls. So you'll have to kind of figure out yourself. But yeah, it's really helpful if we could have an idea of like, how many phone calls did you create? How many demos did you create? Right. So if you just keep that moving forward, that's super helpful. Send that to Stacy, me, and Gerardo at the end of every workshop. What's going to be great is that if you are the best workshop leader, and then they get a chance to meet you at the SC2 conference, SC1 conference, be like, hey, this is Ali who ran your workshop. Hey, this is Annika. And then you're like, hey, just listen to Ethan. Hey, just listen to Gerardo. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, gotcha, that's what I should do. Because the cool person that's been teaching how to sell Cutco just told me my manager is awesome. And so we can have that reverse edification. That's the workshop content. That's the program. Any questions? Anything that, from the past you weren't sure how to handle? So I would probably guess that at this point, Ali, Annika, you've probably run the most rep workshops. I don't know, maybe Spencer at that point. Ali, Annika, what were some of the things that okay, really lit up for you at this one? Something that you hadn't learned before.
Like from like what you just talked about, what jumped out
Mm-hmm.
like to
Yeah.
implement? Okay. I think, well, I've noticed a lot of like Everett Burns, like in his calls, he did a lot of like AM coaching and calling people out specifically. Spencer does a really great job about that. I know he did that a lot last summer of just like really engaging people where everyone's like, oh, Spencer's talking, I want to be on his workshop. Or
Mm-hmm.
whoever it is, like they're attracted to learning from those people because of that. So just really like the
Yep.
connection is a big thing that I want to implement. Not just what they're getting out of it, but people remember how you make them feel. So that's a big thing.
Yes.
Allie,
That's
what you
awesome.
got?
I was gonna say I thought it was a really good reminder just in general for like basically people running workshops just in like I said, just in general, it was good reminders of like we got to keep it simple. We've been talking about that here in the Wilco office a lot of just keeping it simple for new people for because we have so much information in our brains and especially whenever CSPs run workshops. Like you guys are amazing at selling Cutco, talking to Spencer and Kristen, right? You guys are awesome at selling Cutco, but you haven't managed people in a really long time. And I think that's what it comes down to is remembering just to keep it really, really simple.
Well, they've managed people. They just haven't managed brand new people.
Well, that's that's what I meant. Brand new people. Spencer, I'm not talking to you. You know I'm not talking to you. You ran multiple offices. You know I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to Kristen either. I'm talking about our high level CSPs who have not managed new people in a long time. Come on, come on. Have some respect,
Me,
okay?
let me show you some examples, by the way, of what these workshops hypothetically should look like. So these are some, and by the way, if you guys want me to share this with you guys, are more than welcome to steal all my stuff. I've never been shy to, kind of teach things, but this is an example of a workshop that I run in the morning when I do a phoning workshop, right? So it's 5 slides and it looks like somebody took 5 seconds to make it. Right? It wasn't something that I just all right, guys, well, let me just review the phone approach. Right? So stuff like that. Right. And so take a minute today, if you can, and create a little slideshow. It'll just also make it easier for you to run your workshop. It'll make your workshop go faster. Right. So here's my selling accessories workshop. Nothing, like I said, it's not going to be crazy. Right. None of this stuff is like that. You could probably ask Chat GTP to make it for you if you wanted to. Right. So, but again, it's just the fact that you have something that makes it look like, oh, this is actually their brain goes into I'm learning something mode. So when I was a when I was a manager, what I do as a manager is I'll run the workshop for my assistant managers with the slideshow, and then afterwards they do it themselves. All right. So again, wanted to keep this meeting nice and short and to the point, so that way somebody else will watch it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Everybody's got their like the Zoom ID. You guys know how to log into everything, and I'll put into the text box, into the text message, the slideshow that I made for this workshop in case you want to review it again. And I'll post the recording in case anybody ever wants to watch that ever again. All right.
That's actually, I got a question.